Welcome everybody to this week's episode of Retake, the show all about Rainbow Six, and you might have noticed a bit of a change. I am Lisa today, and we tried to find somebody to replace me because Lisa's away. We couldn't find anybody, so we decided to bring on Flynn.
Hey bud, how you doing?
I'm well, it's great to see you. I'm INTERRO, this is Flynn. Welcome so much to joining us here on this show. We got a great show for you today. I'm pretty hyped up. Some big things to talk about. Are you excited?
Absolutely, Parker. We got to run down everything that happened over the weekend with the EU Major, and we got to talk about the operator pick rates. Everything's been changing. New operators coming in, a new operation coming next weekend. We're waiting.
A lot of exciting things lined up. We've also got some Six posting for you. My favorite part of the show when we dig into the things that the community has given us, and we have a good laugh about them. But before we get there, it was the EU Major this weekend. Team Empire ran through everybody and destroyed BDS in the finals. Did you watch it? And if so, what were your thoughts?
I did, and honestly, I was very surprised by Empire's run this weekend. You know, BDS obviously being the favorite. I think VP has shown they belong in a way that many weren't expecting. And Virtus Pro this weekend, I think they stumbled for a moment, but honestly, it was a much better weekend of games than even I was anticipating heading in.
I had an alarm set to wake up about like map 3, and I woke up for the final round of map 3, which ended up being won by Empire, and then they 3-0'd the whole thing, and I was, whoops. So I had to go back and rewatch it, and let me tell you, it didn't take too long. Well, with that said, I'm pretty hyped up about this show. It's great to have you here. What do we have up next, Rob?
Well, up next, we're going to be taking a look in the new operation, Neon Dawn. A brand new operator comes to Rainbow Six Siege, Aruni. Let's take a look and see what she's bringing to the table.
And there's one spotted inside.
Surely he will. Oh, he's on.
Do all the rest of the work. He hears the shot through the barricade.
He only needs to land a single bullet, and he must know that at this point.
The final operation of 2020 pulls Siege out of the shadow and into the light. Operation New Dawn wraps up the year with a brand new operator and the fourth and final map rework. Let's take a look at Aruni and what her impact on the game might look like when she goes live. Aruni is the newest member to Six, a 2-speed, 2-armor TIE defender with a prosthetic arm and leg. Her indestructible Surya gates let her close off entries and rotates with a dangerous laser grid. The lasers zap any equipment or attackers that try to pass through, but shut down automatically to let defenders by. However, one person or piece of equipment hitting the grid is all it takes to disable the Surya for 30 seconds. Defenders will have to shoot the generator itself to get the grid working again, otherwise it stays disabled. Aruni's kit is just as interesting as her gadget. She gets the P10 Roni, as well as Dokebi's MK14, the first DMR to be given to a defender. Finally, her prosthetic arm comes in handy for quick sight construction. A few punches is all it takes to open up an infinite amount of rotate holes with no health penalty like Oryx or invisibility. It's a lot to take in, but let's take a look at what everyone else is thinking about. Is Aruni overpowered? From a glance, her gates are scary. Mix in a little bit of Kapkan, Jaeger, and Castle, and you've got one hell of a combo. The ability to destroy attacker utility stands out, especially with the prevalence of the 20-second meta. However, the changes to catch operators like Jaeger and Wamai mean the utility-soaked meta is in for a shakeup. The long cooldown and manual reset means the Surya won't deny utility as easily as an ADS or a Magnet. Once it's taken down, attackers have plenty of time to play around the gate and prevent defenders from reactivating it. It's an interesting way to slow down monkey ash rushes while still being easy for attackers to deal with. Her arm has caught a lot of attention for an add-on ability that's not really vital to her kit. It allows defenders to get away with fewer shotguns and impact nades and have infinite rotate holes on demand. However, the dev team has said they're open to pulling the ability before the live build if it really is overkill. As always, synergy is the most important thing to keep in mind when new ops are introduced. While she'll obviously mesh well with Jaeger and Wamai, we'll have to see what operator combos bring out Aruni's full potential. It'll be a while before Aruni and her gates make it to the pro scene, so we'll have to wait and see what changes happen from now until then.
And there's one spotted inside.
Surely he will. Oh, he's on.
Do all the rest of the work. He hears the shot through the
But he
barricade.
only needs to land a single bullet, and he must know that.
It's time for our weekly interview, one of my favorite parts of the entire show. And we got a great guest for you this time. Oh, that's right. Follow me.
Did you forget about me?
Flynn, I did forget about you. You're our guest. Welcome to the interview.
Hey, it's good to be here. I'm happy to be here.
Are you happy to be here?
I'm happy to see you. It's been a minute.
It's been exactly a year to the date. That's crazy.
It is crazy. It's been a fun journey so far.
To be fair, since that we've only had 2 events. We had USN and the Six Invitational.
Yes.
Of which you were unfortunately present for neither of those. Your presence was sorely missed.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Well, now you're a competitor though, and I get to cast you every other Friday in the Canada division. So I suppose my first question for you is going to be a pretty simple one. How are you enjoying playing?
So I said this pretty early on. I don't think I've ever been this happy as a player. I started out as a player before a caster, and not many people even remember that. I actually played for your organization, Powerhouse, for about a full calendar year there as well, before ever casting. So going back to what I know, building up with a team, that was one of my problems as a caster as well, is that I never really had a consistent duo. It's really nice to be able to surround myself with a team that, we're gonna work in the office every single day and grow together as a unit. I've always been a team player, I've always wanted to be a team player. It just feels like I'm back at home.
Have you ever gone back and rewatched the first couple scrims that you played as a team and see, now that you've competed in 2 stages and 2 qualifiers, how has your team grown? And do you kind of chuckle at where you were back at the start?
100%. I definitely laugh about where we were. I laugh about how much we've grown, honestly, and how much I didn't think even I could improve as a player. And I've seen a lot of improvements in my own game and my teammates' game. And obviously, I've played with Not Loading for 4 years now. We know each other pretty inside and out, and yet I've already seen a lot of growth and improvement out of him as well. So yeah, comparing to where we were in May to where we are now in November, it's night and day.
What's the biggest change that you've seen for the team?
I'd definitely say the teamwork. Early on, coming in, there were a couple of us that hadn't played in a season. I took season 11 of Challenger League off. So did Loading. Silent and Quartz both hadn't played in a competitive league in a few months when we first made the team, and Zilchi hadn't played in years. So that first stage was us trying to survive and just try to play make and try and do things on our own and make sure we could just make through every game at a time and win the games we needed to. But after stage 1, it was a real focus to turn around and try and get back to working with each other and trying to be a better team entirely, get that chemistry going, get some new development on the interpersonal relationships.
When we cast the Canada division, we always consider Mirage, your team, to be the mark that everybody needs to live up to and get to that level to compete at. And you've won both stages. You've beaten US division teams. I'd say that's pretty fair. But when you reflect on the other teams in the Canada division, what are your brutally honest thoughts on them, on where they started and where they are now?
Brutally honest?
Be brutal.
Gotten a hell of a lot better. They were not great to begin with. You and I casted Nordic for a couple of years before this league ever existed in the Canadian Nationals and previous iterations, and they were a decent, a pug team they could win a Go for here or there, but they weren't making noise in CL quals, they weren't making noise in any kind of major quals, they were barely making noise in the Canadian Nationals, for God's sake. You had a team of, ex-pros, cohorts that were friends that came together and knocked you out of the ballpark a couple times. So the improvement from Nordic has definitely seen some gains, but unfortunately they find themselves in a relegation spot. So we'll see how that winds up for them. Livid, roster changes, big proponent for why they've gotten better, but I do believe, again, Livid has gotten better. They certainly looked a hell of a lot better in the game against us than they did in the first stage. And then Altiora, I don't know how much I want to trash talk them, considering I play them in a month, but I would say at this point, the amount of roster changes they made have put them back to, I would say, where they started the stage, or started this whole season off at. That amount of upheaval on a roster, that amount of constant revolving door on key positions as well, hard breach, IGL, positions that take a lot of time to build up. With that amount of shuffling the deck, I don't see a whole lot of improvement out of Altiora over the course of the year, but I don't think they were that far off us to begin with either.
Last question, Zero is going to be playable soon-ish, right? He should be out of competitive quarantine for the next stage, next year, whatever we're gonna go into at some point next year. Aruni will be a little bit of time. Do you see Zero making a splash at all in the meta? Do you think he will get picked by teams?
Oh, 100%, and I don't think it's for the reason anyone thinks it does. I think he will be viable. He's got frag grenades.
He's losing them though.
He doesn't have frag grenades. Then I guess with the cameras, is doable.
I am kind of surprised they are taking his grenades away though, because teams were starting to work him into strats and scrims and stuff like that.
Yep,
But now he's losing them?
The loss of the frag grenades, like the frag grenades for me, are what make him so versatile, is you can now take out like a Nomad for your flank watch and put in a 0, but your flank watch will have nades, but someone else can pick up the flank watch for you off of those cameras with this specific utility. You can obviously do that with normal flank drones that everyone has access to. They're a lot more obvious, they're a lot more common places for those things to sit than one of these 0 cameras. So it provides a lot of flexibility in terms of maneuvering the pawns on the board at different times of the game.
Right.
The loss of the frag grenades though, I mean, frags are such a rare commodity right now, and ever since Buck lost them, everyone has just been starving for grenades and soft destruction in some kind of combination again, because it's the only efficient pair that we've seen really be useful. It's either Sledge with the nades or Buck with the nades. That's where we've really seen that fill into the meta. So without 0 nades and without Buck nades still, oh boy.
So there you have it. We'll be looking forward to seeing 0 in some play. I'm sure your team in the Canada division will run him when he's available. And then on the horizon, Aruni, because there is a Dawn coming, a neon Dawn, Rob. It was a pleasure. I know I like to joke an awful lot about you showing up, but it is always nice to hear your perspective. And I know that not just myself, but everybody watching appreciates your candor and your honesty with us. So thank you very much for coming on.
Anytime, brother.
This week's six-pack has nothing but the best from Europe's finest. First up, we have this incredible attempt from Rask to save the day. Rask mows down 4 from BDS, but just falls short of the full ace clutch.
Still holding down around sight, mind you, down to those final 30 seconds. This is where BDS have got antsy on previous maps, but the plant is going down. They're here in good time, and Brede is sticking this one out, but here comes the interrupt from Rask. This is why flank drones can be so impactful, ladies and gents. With that, he almost shuts the round down in its entirety, but he is a one-man army. He's got to win a 1 versus 3. Can he find them all? He gets 2 down. He only got to kill 1 more. It's him versus Shaiko. Almost gets away with it, but doesn't quite get the head. I thought for a second he got it, but Shaiko saves the round from almost near certain defeat. Hero play by Rask, just not quite enough to stop the beast himself.
If there's one thing Virtus Pro learned, it's to stay out of dirt tunnel when Bride is around. He makes this next 3K look easy to give BDS the round advantage in overtime.
5 seconds to go.
No one is close by to be able to act on it, whether or not that was going to be Shockwave opening up Church. He may have rotated over to be able to open up Dirt, but I think Pasha might have got that. I'm not entirely sure. Nope, it was Shockwave. And that was going to be him in Dirt pushing up with Rask. It looks like they want to have this pinch push. This is their idea, but if they don't get rid of the shotgun in Dirt, it's for naught.
Oh, he misses the shot as well. Bride gets a second shot off on that one and finishes off his second victim inside of Dirt. Wonderful start for him. Can he now collect Pasha at the same time as he's coming in? Yes, he can. Bride can do it all for Team BDS. This is Bride Domination Society, ladies and gentlemen. Forget about the name of Team BDS.
Team Empire's run to winning the EU Major had plenty of fantastic moments, like this slick 1v2 clutch. It looked almost impossible, but Scyther came up big for the Russians.
Will come through, and the Gemini Replicator will give away the game. Pre-fire will come, but Dan will fall to Shaiko nonetheless. And in these last 30 seconds, Shaiko will be pushing through to the actual bars and allowing for a bit of breathing space for the rest of BDS, who are looking to get this plant on the way any second now.
Shepard has found his way back inside. The pings are coming pretty continually, and Joystick is there with a save over the shoulder, but Shaiko finds his 3rd, looking for his 4th, but he can't quite find it. Shepard went big last round and is continuing that trend. Peppers some pellets into the backs of anyone that tries to make the rotation. The call is coming, and there is Iana to save the grace of the planter. Scyther hasn't found anyone on this angle and now finds himself in a 2 versus 1 post-plant situation. The pings are continually, they're dug in on Coffee. The other one is back in the freezer itself, and all flashes are expended at this point onwards. Bride cannot find anywhere to stand up, but is concerned and saved by the cover. Scyther says no to that and swings himself round all the way on the door. Dance is a very dangerous game, goes for his pistol for the close quarters confrontation and finds it. Scyther! An unbelievable clutch, does what they haven't been able to do before and finds the 2nd round for Empire.
While BDS may have lost in the major finals, Renshiro didn't go down without a fight. Looking to keep the first map close, he hits this sweet 4K to tie things up on Villa.
Maybe for BDS here, there's a small change to be made. They had 2 playing below with C4s in last round. That's something we commended BP for and somewhat lamented BDS for, with not being too aware of the vertical play. I think it's very fair to say this is a massive improvement for them in the space of a couple of days on this map. Renshiro definitely improving himself with 2 kills, making a 3rd as he swings onto Scyther. And hey, this round's going to go flawless. It's swinging back the other way, it feels like, as Renshiro finds a 3K, sees one more, makes it a quadra kill. And for BDS, well, 4 kills for Renshiro in round 4. Chat, you know what key to be pressing right now.
The EU Major had a couple big hero plays, and this one from Rafal is top-notch. Trapped in a 2v4 and looking to put the final nail in Virtus.pro's coffin, Rafal hits the last-second denial to punch their ticket to the Major Finals.
So I believe the bathroom wall is open as well. That could give BDS more power in holding back players who, yeah, there we go. That gives them more power in holding back players who could be here on the jacuzzi wall. Rafal's actually going to rotate downstairs as Alems gets that kill through the bathroom wall. The attempt at the C4 doesn't actually get anyone, and Alems finds himself falling instead. Now Virtus.pro have very much the advantage, and they can start to come in with the plant. Pasha's going to be going for that himself. Ride just holding on to this angle, but Team BDS want to be proactive if they want to do something. Rafal, an absolute beast, he gets 2, and Team BDS take the map. They take the game and they take themselves forward into the grand finals in the blink of an eye.
Let's close out the 6-pack with the Russian cyborg Joystick playing at his best. He slams through 4 members of BDS with Zofia, but always takes the final kill last second to steal Joystick's ace away.
A huge chunk of those hit points. You need to go for the kills. You cannot just go for tagging every now and then. This Joystick seems to be willing to go for a bit of an aggressive push right here to these white stairs. It's going to be spawning out ahead. A beautiful shot. Alems will fall. However, the response will be there. Shaiko takes down Scooter. Cider, I must say, as Joystick trying to respond to Rafal himself. Stoiko still inside of the way they're waiting. Watch through here. It's a quad kill suddenly from Joystick, as he will be able to pick up all these 4 kills. He's waiting and trying to find the last one now, but it's always that will be able to pick up that kill. The Empire are leading the charge, and they are continuing to lead the charge after an almost ace to come through.
That's it for this all-European 6-pack. As the Major season winds down, we can't wait to see what else is in store.
Ubisoft is making big changes to older operators with the release of Neon Dawn. Hibana, Jaeger, and Echo were at the top of the list, with all 3 of their gadgets getting tuned for the new season. Let's break down the numbers behind the scenes that may have had an impact on Ubisoft's operator overhauls. First up is Hibana. She can now shoot her X-Kairos pellets in sets of 2, 4, or 6 at a time, giving her more options when opening up reinforcements. She saw solid pick rates in Stage 1, with APAC and EU taking her half of the time, while the US and Brazil choose her 35% of the time. Meanwhile, her ban rate hovered from 8 to 29%. The Americans were more likely to ban Hibana than any other region by almost 10%. That all changed when Ace made his pro scene debut in Stage 2. Teams took Ace 50 to 75% of the time through Stage 2, passing every other breaching op. Hibana's numbers slid in EU and Brazil, while the Asian scene took her half as much as they did in Stage 1. Still, she had the number 2 pick rate for hard breachers in every region but Brazil this stage. Her new options for breaching are likely to affect Ace's top spot moving forward. While Hibana is a more attractive pick for teams, expect her ban rate to skyrocket as everyone gets a feel for her. Ubisoft's making a big push to squash the utility dump meta with a rework for Jaeger's Magpies. He now has unlimited ADS charges with a 10-second cooldown between catches. The favorite defender of ranked stars everywhere, pro players are just as guilty of being Jaeger mains. By Stage 2, he had a pick rate average of almost 93% across the Tier 1 scene thanks to the 20-second meta. However, with the changes to Jaeger, Wamai, and the catching mechanics, we could see a shakeup in attacker choices as teams need less utility to push onto site. Last but not least, Echo's not a face we've seen around the pro scene in a while, but Ubisoft is looking to change that. With the invincible yokai glitch that kept him permanently banned, he doesn't have much to look at for Stage 1 and 2. The few times Echo was available for play, his ban rate dwarfed his pick rate in the Tier 1 scene. Running back to the final season of Pro League under ESL, Echo was banned more than half the time, second only to Mira. With his yokai drones losing their cloaking, we'll have to see if they can stay fixed long enough to make an impact on the pro pick and bans. With Ubisoft mixing up plenty of things this season, we'll have to see how creative teams get in the operator select phase.
It's time for some 6 posting. It's our favorite part of the show where we get to pull all the memes from the community and all the cool stuff that you create and share it with our audience. And first up comes from an organization in the game that we know as BDS. They took the cocky route by displaying a picture of the leaves in the oxygen filter from the game Among Us, suggesting that the other 3 orgs were trash that needed to be removed. Now, unfortunately for BDS, they lost. So the question I have to ask for you, Rob, does Mirage go the cocky route, or are you a little bit more humble in how you approach the games and your opponents?
I'd say it's I'll be honest, we're a little cocky. We're a little full of ourselves. We like to know our opponent and know that we're gonna match up well. It's definitely bit us before, that's for sure. Cough, SSG cough, but it's there's some healthy cockiness there.
Obviously, didn't age very well for BDS, but that's okay because they've still won something before, so I think that cockiness is a little warranted.
And next up, South Siege with a very cute meme of an interpretation of Darth Maul and a rendition of Aruni's new laser wall. Clearly 2 was not enough for Aruni, and she thought Darth Maul might have been a little unprepared to come to the fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think this might be the only time that Darth Maul's been called cute.
Very true.
He is horrific looking.
The horns don't help.
Yeah, not the greatest, kind of bad teeth. Not awesome. The makeup is actually pretty cool, but I mean, like, not attractive.
No.
But Darth Maul, obviously, well known for his twin lightsaber, his double blade. Aruni has a whole damn wall of them. So
overmatched a little.
Next up, we've got Anna's Mechanic, who shows off their CGI knowledge by making a little bit of an IRL Rainbow Six Siege. We'll bring up the video for you now for you to watch. Obviously starting off with the drone, driving through the house, picking up the drone, and then shooting a smiley face into the wall, all with the Rainbow Six UI. Kind of cool.
Yeah, I like those augmented reality kind of videos, honestly. It's a cool take on it. We see a lot of cool things with that kind of genre in Siege.
Rob, it was a pleasure having you on the show. Thanks so much for joining us. That's it for this week. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to follow us on all of our socials at Watch Retake, including our YouTube channel, where we post the full show and all full segments, including the full interviews. Once they get edited down, you can get the uncut interviews on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next week.